there's doing things that are against the law, and there's having criminal intent, right? And so without criminal intent, there's no criminal action. Whether like it's a whole thing. So his character arc, both in the original and in this one, is that he has to learn the law, and that's fleshed out a little bit more in the original than this one. But he goes in as a guy who doesn't know how to do things, and then he learns the law, and the law becomes his ally.
Oh, we don't get that one in this, do we?
Well, you get the one shot of the book where he reads the book.
I mean, he did a pretty good job going from facing an 18-year sentence just to take his shirt off and show his box cutter scars, and then they're voting him in as sheriff.
Yeah. So I don't have a lot of box cutter experience. How deep into the internal organs can one go with a box cutter?
Well, how long does this movie take place? In a month. It's 1 month, correct?
I think no, he can't.
Because the sheriff said it's voting season.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's recovering so long. Like, the recovery time
he
for that.
He recovered for 6 hours. He watched 2 movies and ate a sandwich.
I would have thought it would be a year from beginning to end of this movie, is what I thought.
I thought it was like 3 days.
Well, it's somewhere in the middle. It's between those two.
Wait, what did you think, Phil?
Yeah, I think a year is probably a good call. There's nothing that indicates that it's a year. I think, we have every indication that probably this took place over a month. But realistically, unless he's in and out of the hospital, he's on his deathbed. The doctor says a lesser man would have died from this. And he's doing sit-ups in his living room like 3 days later.
But
yeah,
he never loses muscle mass. I read a year. They should have him grow a beard, maybe, to show the passing of time, right?
Yeah.
It's like at the end of the year, he has a very fake beard on.
Or even if they had like a Christmas scene where they're like, hey, now like he's all damaged up, but he's having Christmas with the people.
Opening presents.
Right? If they had him in the bed, but they brought him a birthday cake, that kind of thing.
So he just sat on a couch for a year and healed?
Yeah.
Man.
At least 6 months. At least 6 months.
I thought this was like 8 weeks. No, not 8 weeks, 8 days. Because I thought it all took place in that month. So he could be voted in sheriff.
No, I think it's the following election season, is what I think. But I could be wrong. But guys, I found something on the internet I'm going to send to you right now.
The true story, he came back 2 years later, correct?
Yeah, exactly. It was a whole in the big story, like in the original one. Yeah, it's 2 years later. He learns the law. He does it's a whole thing. So this is not the case here. But I've just posted in our messenger group a picture of the real Buford Pusser in his wrestling gear.
Ooh.
So this is what The Rock is supposed to be portraying. This guy right here.
Oh, dude had a chin on him. That's for sure. Tough
right?
guy.
Like he's a tough, big, like corn-fed North American lad right there.
But like,
so I think The Rock is is on the nose to play this guy.
Wait. I still think he was just on the couch for 3 days.
I'm not going to ruin this for you, Mark. This whole movie takes place in 4 weeks, okay? How's that make you feel?
Wait, but remember he hands him the brochure. I guess it is the following. But how often do sheriffs get reelected? Isn't
it yearly?
I don't know. We could type it in right now.
Mark, we live in Canada. We don't have any sheriffs.
Yeah.
You live in Georgia.
This
is your... Yeah, if someone asked me, if tomorrow my boss was like, how often are sheriffs voted in the States? I wouldn't Google it. I would just call Mark.
4-year terms.
Oh.
Ooh.
Then I apologize. We're going to go back to your 3-day recovery here.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Let me go to Washington, because then they'll be like 8 days, depending on if The Rock heals up. All right, Washington, 4-year term.
Okay.
He gets voted in, correct?
But hold on, though. Wait. But
people are chanting Sheriff Vaughn as he's walking out of the courthouse.
Yeah, so don't they... Hold on.
That kid doesn't grow either, though.
Don't they call the emergency election? Like, don't they call a re-election?
Wait, They call a re-election?
Isn't it like not a scheduled election? They call a special election, don't they?
Let's see.
Referendum on the local sheriff election.
Right.
Wait, so it says he reveals the grotesque scars on his torso from his being tortured by the casino staff. He is then acquitted and wins the election for sheriff.
Okay, so I guess it's just a regular election.
So is that 4 years? Is he on that couch for 4 years?
No, it can't.
No, same year.
Too much either way.
Yeah.
This movie's 80 minutes. It makes me so happy.
The exact amount of time it took The Rock to heal.
I mean, yeah. Sorry to I'm not trying to argue. You blew my mind with the year healing.
Well, I just figured that's what a reasonable person, because he was near dead. Like he almost died. You can't get better from being dead in a week.
Well, lesser men would have died.
Right. And you know what? If we're being honest, when it comes to The Rock, all of us are lesser men.
Yeah. So everyone else would have died.
The question that this brings up for me is how bad is that knee? Like, what did he do to his knee then? If that knee injury is still lingering and nagging. At one point, Neal McDonough throws him out of the factory. He falls 30 feet and lands flat on his back. And instead of having a broken neck or a broken back or something like that, he's clutching the bad knee injury. He's able to recover from the box cutter scars in 3 days, but that knee injury is still lingering.
Whoa.
I would have loved it if they would have had an emotional flashback to him walking into his house and tripping on a Tonka truck, and that's what caused the knee injury. If I just would have cleaned up my toys as a kid, I wouldn't have had this bum knee.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, though, because he has a bum knee, and they go after his knee during the football game, and then...
Yeah. I'm like, when that happened, I was like, why'd you move back to this town? People here are jerks.
Yeah, they just go at this is after he threw the ball. And also, too, Neal McDonough lets him have it. He's like, you're a failed college football player? Like, The Rock played college football at Miami.
Yeah. He played professional football in Canada.
That one cut pretty deep. I wonder if that was an improv.
Yeah. He just starts ripping on The Rock.
Cut as deep as a box cutter.
Yeah.
Wound. You're Neal McDonough though. It's 2004. You're Neal McDonough, and you're gonna do a movie with a professional wrestler, who's done The Scorpion King and The Rundown. Do you respect The Rock as a wrestler or as an actor at this point in time?
I think so, because wrestling was a different world back then.
It really was. It was at the peak.
It was gigantic, and he put the work. He had been putting in the work probably since 2001 with Scorpion King or Mummy Returns, and then Scorpion King was a success, and then The Rundown was a critical and financial hit.
Yeah, well, you put Walken and The Rock in a movie. What do you think's going to happen?
Beautiful. And so I think McDonough probably did The Rock is nothing but complimentary. So during the commentary, he just kept talking about how nice of a butt Neal McDonough has. So that was interesting. So he's like, look at those blue eyes.
It's a hot take.
He's like, look at those blue eyes. Like, The Rock was like, he also got put in the wrong hotel, and he was really mad about that. But, that's a great question. I think by this time he had done enough work. This wasn't like, Phil gets a hit YouTube show, and then a week later he's starring in Walking Tall 6.
Oh, man.
With Neal McDonough.
The same character.
Yeah. Like, he gets out of jail, and then he tries to go back up again, and then Phil, a big-time YouTube star who's never starred in a movie, takes a weapon and defeats him. Like, then, I'm not bagging on you, Phil, but, this is your first movie. You know what I mean? Like, you're YouTube famous. You have a house with a bunch of influencers. So, you don't take the craft. I don't know why I'm developing this character for you.
No, I love this so much.
You don't take the craft, you're respectful, but you don't get the craft yet. So McDonough's like, oh, this is where I'm at in my life, but it's a paycheck.
I'm taking some acting classes, but I'm not.
But not seriously.
Yeah. Not seriously.
And you're kind of worried, but so you go method, because I know a lot of actors who don't have formal training like to go method. So you're kind of like, well, you know what? I'm going to bounce at bars. You walk around hitting things with 2x4s every day.
I'm gonna show up doing like a strange accent, like a strange mix of accents, just to show everyone that I'm really going for it.
Yeah.
Are you the guy that did an entire episode of Law and Order for your audition?
Yeah. Every single role, rapid fire dialogue.
Yeah.
You quoted Molly's Game, the entire movie.
Yeah.
On tape.
Yeah.
And like, well, I was asking for like a 30-second, clip on the iPhone, but you watching you do Molly's Game, you really nailed Chastain.
Mm-hmm.
Like I felt the pathos there.
I got a little exhausted on the third act, but you brought it home. You brought it home.
Yeah, you kind of leaned a little heavy. Like, I know you were supposed to be Michael Cera, but I felt a lot of Tobey Maguire in that.
Yeah.
So I want to do this for a second, Mark, because the Walking Tall, the original one had 2 sequels with a different lead actor. So Buford Pusser was played by a different character than Joe Don Baker, or a different actor than Joe Don Baker in the sequels. But it got 2 sequels, a TV movie, and it got a TV series. And then this one also got 2 sequels, starring a different actor in the lead role as well. It got Walking Tall: The Payback and Walking Tall: Lone Justice, but also a different actor in the lead role. So it kind of mirrored history there.
So when they remake it in 3 years, who should be the new Chris or Buford? So they played college football. It didn't pan out.
Right.
So then they went in the military for 8 years. So they're 29, 30, right? Around that age.
And the actor needs to be tied to professional wrestling in some way? Question mark?
Yeah.
Okay.
So a current WWE wrestler.
Okay, so I'm going to say for the original remake that they're going to do.
I got one. Go ahead, Adam. Go with yours. I got one, Mark, that I think you're going to like.
Okay. I like what's going on. So I have my 2. So I have the guy to play that in the first one, and then the guy who's going to play it in the sequels. Are you ready for this?
Oh, you have all of them. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So the guy who's going to play it in the original one, like the big one, they're going to get Brock Lesnar in, who's the biggest name. So he would have been like the Rock of the day. He's had success in all kinds of stuff. Everything he does, it touches the gold. So the Rock or Brock Lesnar is going to play it in the theatrical release, but the straight to Netflix sequels are going to be starring Johnny Morrison.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh, I support that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
That's my take. What's your take, Phil?
So instead of going pro wrestling, Mark knows I try to tie in MMA to every single podcast appearance that I make here.
Brock Lesnar, former UFC world champion.
Which is fair, right? Fair crossover as well. We could say Brock's MMA stardom is applicable here as well.
Yeah.
But again, if we're talking like former soldier, former football player, comes back to clean up his town, wins like some type of political, like is in a political position. I would say give me Walking Tall starring Brian Stan, who is like a former soldier, incredible UFC fighter, now going into business and politics and all of this. Brian Stan would be awesome for this.
Yeah, I mean he has a Medal of Honor, does he not?
I think he might.
Oh,
So,
I like that.
That's great. Do you guys want to know a crazy comparison?
Huh.
So Walking Tall with The Rock, who you could say is like instant draw money, and not so much at this point in time in 2004, but he's a draw, right? Like he's a box office draw. The budget for Walking Tall in 2004 was $46 million. The box office was $57 million.
Mm.
So that's a razor thin margin, I would say, right? It made $11 million on paper with advertising and promotion. I don't know if there's any real money there. In 1973, the budget was $500K, and it made $40 million at the box office.
Oh, wow.
How about that, eh? Isn't that bananas?
I think the biggest problem with this movie is that it's just a decent, good, like afternoon